Ow. What's up, everyone? Punchy back with Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 2, Watanagashi. We are on the fourth and last recording for today. Okay, so I was wondering about this because I obviously I've been making shorter videos around 20 to 25 and slightly over sometimes mark. But still, the first arc was 31 videos, I think it said. And currently, without the 4 videos that I made today, this current arc is already 30 minutes. Oh man, how long is this arc? Anyway, last time we were talking to Rena, who gave us her very informed guesses on what actually happened the night that Satoko and Rika-chan disappeared. Basically, she guessed Satoko made dinner out of soy sauce. Rika-chan like, hey, I'll go to the neighbors, see if they can get soy sauce. She went, didn't come. Satoko called the house. The house was like, hey, we made dinner. Rika already ate. She said, come on over. Satoko was a little pissed off. She went over, and then we don't know. That's all for Rena's guesses. These are all just ideas, okay? Keep them a secret from the police. What is there to hide? Even if only half of what you say is right, it should be a good clue for all of this. Punchy-kun, this all means suspecting someone from Hinamizawa. We can't suspect anyone without a really good reason. I saw a few girls coming over to rinse out their bento boxes. Rena cut the conversation short there and returned to the classroom. I stayed there alone, my body bathed in the lively voices of the cicadas. Let's think about this in my own way. Rena had barely any information to go on, yet she'd reasoned out that much. So there should be something that only I, who knew far more than Rena did, could deduce. Ooishi-san said that last night too, but this incident was definitely occurring within Hinamizawa. Rena might not have wanted to believe it, but it's basically a given that the culprit is someone from the village. The trigger for everything was when the 4 of us trespassed in the forbidden storehouse. Somebody saw us going in there. For the culprits, breaking the taboo was a crime punishable by death. So that night, Takano-san and Tobentake-san were sacrificed. Rip in peace. There were 2 left. Shion and myself. However, before the culprits bore their fangs on Shion and me, they went after the mayor, to whom Shion had confessed her sin. Next, they went for Rika-chan, to whom I'd confessed my sin. Then what about Satoko? Just a stray bullet? By itself, Rika-chan being sacrificed after I told her everything was mortifying. But Satoko, who was sacrificed for no reason, wasn't that all the more regrettable? Everything was my fault. Punchy, man, you gotta snap out of this. Even if you think it's your fault, we gotta like kick it up, man. Who would be the next to disappear? Would it be Shion and me next time? Why? Why weren't the culprits going for Shion and me right away, though? If they had enough power to erase the mayor and Rika-chan, then why not just get rid of Shion and me? They went for us. Well, I wouldn't like it, but I could still tolerate it. What I couldn't forgive was them getting rid of those we'd confessed to. Now that I think of it, yesterday, she did something alarming. She felt like someone was watching her. So then, was someone watching me as well? Strangely though, I didn't feel anything like that until now. Well, Punchy, you're not the most aware person. Even though I'm the root cause of everything, I never once had that impression. Maybe that was simply because Shion was more cautious than me, and I was just careless. Yes. That's another story though. Let's get back on track. Why weren't the culprits going after Shion and me? I felt like that's where the key to this lay. Could it be Was I making a big assumption that I shouldn't have been? I thought and thought, but couldn't come up with an answer. The one thing I understood was that I was a concerned party to this case, and that I had a duty to watch over it until everything got resolved. I heard the ring of the bell declaring the end of lunch break. Would somebody else disappear tonight? If nobody else did, then I wanted them to get rid of me tonight for sure. And then put an end to all of this. Sheen's hysterical voice on the phone last night came back to mind. They planned to murder those close to us first, make us as miserable as possible, and only then would they kill us. Mirabara-kun, lunch break is over. Go back to the classroom. At the principal's urging, I returned to the classroom, which was quiet as the streets at night. Where did the principal come from? There were a lot of parents picking up their children after school. It was just like a kindergarten. The students whose parents didn't come went home as a group. We left school with everyone else, following the assigned route. Even while leaving, nobody said anything funny. They all looked like exhausted mountaineers silently marching through the mountains. As we went, one left, and then another, and in the end, it was just Rena and me. I was supposed to escort Rena all the way to her house, but she declined. Will you be alright? It's not safe to go alone. It would be just as dangerous for you to go home by yourself after bringing me back, Punchy-kun. It's still light out anyway. I'll be fine. I see. Then be careful, okay? Yeah. Huh? Isn't that a policeman? Rena pointed towards my house. There was a car stopped in front of it. From out of the car came Ooishi-san. He must have been waiting for my return to ambush me. Ooishi-san started walking over, wearing that annoying grin. Rena, you should go. If you get involved with him, you'll be here for hours. But, what do the police want with you? With you? Rena's a good person. Even when I made a fuss over Rika-chan's disappearance, she never asked me why I did. She could have been suspecting me ever since then, and that would have been okay. Even so, she still hadn't asked me anything. She didn't try and pressure me into revealing the truth. I'm not the culprit. I know that. That said, I can't say that I'm totally uninvolved with this incident. Renee simply listened, smiling like she always did. Even though I had insinuated I was related to the incident, she didn't look at me as though she were looking at something dirty. I'll tell you next time. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Get going then. Rena gave me a slight bow and trotted away, leaving me alone with Ooishi-san, who walked over. Hello, hello. Welcome home, Mirabara-san. Hello. It looks like your parents aren't here. My, I was in a bit of a spot. He came all the way to my house? I could only thank my good fortunes that my parents were absent. Since neither of them were around at this hour, they would probably be back late. I think Dad called out on business. I don't think he'll be back until later. I see. Well, that's convenient, I suppose. We can do this without giving your parents any strange ideas. Ooishi-san pushed my back, prompting me to walk. It seemed like he wanted me to get in the car. Are you taking me to the police station? I wasn't the culprit, but I was the cause of everything. It wouldn't be weird if you wanted to investigate me. That kind of gave me a resigned feeling. No, I just don't want to stand around talking. We can just talk in the car, that's all. Come now, don't be shy. He opened the back door and urged me inside. If I got in, I wouldn't have a very easy time getting out. If I said no, however, then this man really might handcuff me and take me away. I couldn't refuse. I could only accept in good grace. The inside of the car had been cooled too much by the air conditioner, and there was a rusty smell coming from the filter, which must have been cleaned only rarely. Oh, is it too cold? I'll turn the car off. He turned off the engine and suddenly became quiet, and the voices of the Higurashi, with all their cool loneliness, snuck inside. That sound. Quack, 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 quack. It sounded to me like a chorus of voices, lamenting my exorbitant punishment for having harbored such foolish curiosity. For a few moments, while listening to those voices, I myself lamented the days that had been twisted and distorted since that night. Ooishi-san, as if waiting for me to voluntarily begin to talk, lit a cigarette and started listening to the Higurashi. The silence became deafening, and I was the one who folded first. How was the investigation going? The investigation? Of what? There have been so many. Which do you mean? All of them. Well, alright then. They're officially secret investigations, and we're under a media blackout. Well, I'll let you in on them. Then, shall we start from the first incident? The freak deaths of Tomitake-san and Takano-san on the night of the Watanagashi. On this one, embarrassingly enough, we haven't made any progress at all. First of all, Tomitake-san. There are indications on his body that he was assaulted by a group of people, but we have no explanation for him clawing at his own throat and dying. We suspect an overdose from a stimulant or something, but we didn't detect anything. How about Takano-san? Or what about Takano-san? The same, we're in the dark. Autopsies for those who are burned to death are real tough. We believe she was doused in gasoline after she was strangled. That one falls under the Gifu Prefecture's police department. They haven't been very cooperative, even though it happened in our territory. Oh, that's not really relevant though. So the police didn't know anything other than the fact that the victims died inexplicably. Nonetheless, the times when the incidents occurred have been generally placed right after the festival ended. It's a bit uncertain in Takano-san's case, but the likely prospect is that she was murdered about the same time as Tomitake-san, then dumped in the mountains in Gifu. Why would they bring a dead body all the way to the mountains? They should have had just brought Tomitake-san out there too. Oh my, Mirabara-san, you're quite sharp, you know that? Of course, I do believe that is something we need to be attentive of. There are a bunch of other suspicious things, but this is about all I can tell you at this point. How about the mayor? Have there been any clues? Having exhausted that topic, I changed the subject. Otherwise, he might turn the conversation on me. Just a matter of time, Punchy. We investigated his movements on the day he disappeared. We didn't find anything that could provide any clues, but I'll tell you about it anyway. The mayor, Kiichiro Kimiyoshi. Apparently he was suffering from severe hemorrhoids. People who lived a long time have an unusual amount of pride, so the mayor hadn't been telling anyone that he was going to a proctologist at a certain university hospital in Shishibone. On the day he disappeared, he had an appointment for a checkup, so he went out first thing in the morning. Even I knew that big hospitals, like university hospitals, had a really long waiting time. Apparently, people would get in line hours beforehand, even if they had an appointment. His exam ended at 1 p.m. After that, he ate a light meal in the hospital restaurant and passed the time reading a magazine. We know this because of a receipt we found in his wallet at his house. There was nothing suspicious at all about that. That day, he planned to go to a meeting in the assembly hall in the evening. He was supposed to return home with plenty of time to spare, but while he was on the train coming back, there was an accident. Seems it delayed him a bit, but he only got back to his house right before the meeting was scheduled to start. His family witnessed a very hectic mayor, leaving to go to the assembly hall at the shrine. What was the meeting about? He disappeared on his way back home, right? The three families and the essential members of the town assembly were at the meeting. We think they were discussing how to deal with the serial freak death incidents that had happened again this year. So then, on his way home, the old man, who had treated Shion like his own daughter, he was a dependable person who would encourage Shion whenever she felt pressured by anxiety, and yet, Shion's painful voice struck me right in the heart. Hmm? Huh? What's the matter? I was taken aback how strange my own voice sounded. What was it that just surprised me? Oh, that's me that's talking. I squeezed my head with my hands to try and drag it back out, but I had only realized for a split second. Remember, Punchy Mirabara, you just realized something important. The night of the Watanagashi, that was when everything started. That night, Takano-san and Tobentake-san died. The next morning, word of the incident had spread throughout Hinamizawa. They planned to talk about it during the evening meeting. The mayor, however, had an appointment at the hospital, and as planned, he went there without telling his family. He got a checkup at the hospital. He ate something. Oh, that delicious place that Shion works at. And then there was an unexpected delay on his train ride back. When he returned, the meeting was already about to start. The mayor changed clothes, got on his bicycle, and hurried to the assembly hall of the shrine as fast as he could. From when he heard about the incident on the night of the Watanagashi until when he showed up at the assembly hall, everything he was doing that day was done in secret. During that time, nobody found out that he went to the hospital alone. He ate alone and got on the train alone. That all meant that he had absolutely no contact with anyone else. You couldn't have even called him on the phone. Okay, but what does that mean, Punchy Mirabara? Why does that matter, Punchy Mirabara? And why does that give me goosebumps? Punchy-chan, wait, what should I do? What's wrong? Tell me. We're not keeping secrets from each other, right? Old man Kimiyoshi, I told him everything. I told old man Kimiyoshi everything. That night, I told the mayor that we stuck into the ritual storehouse. Also that someone saw us, and that was out to get us. Right. What then? Old man Kimiyoshi didn't get angry. He smiled, and he told me that if I was properly sorry about it, there was no way I'd be demoned away. He was really smiling, and he told me to believe it to him. I'll leave it to him. Sweat burst out of my body like bullets. They became one long strand and slid down from my forehead to my nose and fell. So then, what does it mean? Hey, Punchy Mirabara, no more playing dumb. When did she tell him? Oh, that's true. Wow. Usually I wanted to realize things before Punchy, but I had no clue where he was getting at. She said she learned of the incident from a phone call her father made that morning. The mayor had left the house first thing in the morning for his appointment at the hospital. He didn't tell anybody where he was going. Nobody knew about him going to the university hospital. Furthermore, his train ride back to his house was delayed by an accident. As soon as he got home, he rushed out to the assembly hall. Then the meeting at the assembly hall began, and continued until it was dark out. Then everyone left. Nobody saw him after the meeting was over. He just disappeared. Which meant... Mirabara-san? Are you alright? If you're too hot, I can turn on the air conditioner, Another part of me was messing with my thoughts, demanding that I not think any further than that. My head was pounding so violently, and the fluids packed inside it, all blended together until nothing made sense. It was just about to settle, yet it smashed and melted in the blink of an eye, no longer to retain its shape. Mirabara-san? Are you in there? Yeah. Ooishi-san lit yet another cigarette. There was yet another cigarette butt placed in the ashtray. Was it displaying the passage of time? Had my thoughts been frozen over for that long? I've tried to tell you everything I know. In return, feel free to tell me anything you want, Mirabara-san. My mind had become a gigantic oozing mess. My brain felt like it had been totally minced by the blades of a blender, and I couldn't think. Now, don't climb up again. If there are any misunderstandings, I'd like to clear them up first. I don't think you're the culprit here or anything. Ooishi-san gave his best attempt at an adult smile. I know the four of you snuck into the ritual storehouse that night. Everyone in the village heard rumors about it the next day. That in itself means we should take you in for trespassing, but that isn't the problem. It's what was inside. What was inside that made the people who stuck in there end up as sacrifices? There wasn't anything. As soon as I said it, I regretted confirming my presence there, but I knew it didn't matter anymore. Was there really nothing in there? I mean, everyone who went in is being sacrificed one by one, you know? Even the mayor and Rika-san, who switched the lock on the door, were sacrificed. What was inside that could have caused such terrible things to happen? I was far too tired to keep quiet about this. Perhaps this was Ooishi-san's goal all along, but again, that didn't matter anymore. There were just a lot of torture devices that were used a long time ago. I looked around them with everyone. Was that really all? That was really all. There was nothing terrible in there that would make you keep silent? Like a pile of psychoactive drugs? Maybe a secret poppy workshop? Perhaps there were mountains of Soviet or Chinese handguns? There weren't any suspicious wooden boxes or containers packed in there? There was nothing. As exaggerated as Ooishi-san was hoping for, but I felt like in a way, there were plenty of terrible things hidden in there. From the perspective of someone who viewed the storehouse as sacred, whether or not I thought I had seen some crazy things didn't matter in the slightest. The four of us broke the taboo. Punish us. That should have been what happened. We put in a request for a search warrant, thinking that there might have been some secrets hidden in that storehouse. It's been the sabotage of the century. They said it would be an insult to religious figures, and something about the right to free religion in the Constitution. Jeez. That's why I really didn't have any other recourse but to ask you, since you went in there. There was really just old, rusty, dusty torture equipment. Nothing else stood out. Then Tomitake-san and Takano-san were only killed as punishment for having broken the taboo? I didn't have an answer for the only part. I suppose I won't bother hiding it anymore. You're the only one to escape harm so far. Everyone but you has disappeared, yet you alone are safe. What's the difference between you and them that will protect you but bring harm to the others? That's what I want to know. There was something wrong with what Ooishi-san was saying. You alone? You alone? What? Wait a second. What do you mean you alone? I'm saying that you alone have been left alive, right? Out of the 4 people who tiptoed in the storehouse for ritual implements, I mean. The only one left alive? Hold on. Shin was still... Ch.2 Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san died that night, and she and Sonozaki disappeared the next day. Only you are still safe and sound at this point. Why only you? I'm saying that's what I want to know. Oh, goosebumps. Oh, jeez. Alright, I gotta end it for today, guys. But holy crap! I didn't think there'd be that big of a revelation, honestly. I thought, I didn't know what to think. Honestly, I was so weirded out by the drama of it all, and, the absence of creepiness. Like how it was for Chapter 1. I didn't know what to think. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. and we will see where the hell this is going. Bye-bye.